We've got an awesome show for you today, so let's get started.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, the Prepared Mind. Folks, SHTF is not about running through the jungle like we're Rambo, right? It's not that. There can be elements of it that get to that, yes, and we do need to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan to deal with anything that actually comes into our 10-mile POW radius that you and I were in the middle of our own worlds. But the SHTF is happening everywhere around the world, everywhere. And we need to stay aware of it. That is the prepared mind that we push, that we drive. And we're going out into all social media now in an all-out blitz of fact and truth and critical thinking. You see, everyone has an opinion. They're like armpits and they all smell. No, not true. Opinions that are based on rational thoughts, conclusions based on real information and not hyperbole, BS, propaganda, or religious doctrine. There are facts, and that's what we strive to bring you. Now, unbelievable. Remember when Ukraine? Oh, that was a fight America needed to get behind. Ukraine, we must stop Russia by helping Ukraine. 65 billion. What are we up to now? 70 billion? I don't know anymore because they don't tell us the truth anyway. Right? What do we have? Incredible amounts of lies coming from the government. We need to get through that, folks. We need to remember when facts mattered, when American thinking mattered. Right? Well, yeah, America used to be the greatest country on earth, the freest country on earth. Why? Because we had a constitutional republic and freedom and facts mattered. It's funny, as we've declined down, as things have gotten worse, what has risen? Media propaganda, government lies, treasonous people working in Washington, D.C., World Economic Forum, Illuminati, Bilderberg types running around throwing money at politicians to buy favors, to buy more business. I mean, I guess you could look at it and go, well, it's a sound business practice to pay $5 million to some stupid politician that gets you $1 billion in revenue. Yeah, that does make sense, doesn't it? I guess maybe something like that, if it were illegal, oh yeah, that would be good. I would really like that if that was good, right? Making things illegal that are obviously unethical, immoral, and wrong. Now, back to Ukraine. Remember when Ukraine was this thing we have to support? Whew, folks, facts. Ukrainian troops are quitting, leaving the field. It's known as desertion, because Russia is grinding them into powder. Why quit, right? Why desert the Ukraine army? Why desert the battlefield? More troops, more units are leaving, folks. Why? Facts, because they don't have working and proper weaponry to engage an enemy. They are supposedly, the Ukrainians, outnumbering on the battlefields. They're outnumbering the Russians 3-1, but they're getting their ass kicked. Why? They don't have air support or proper air support. They don't have military leadership or proper military leadership. They were sent to fight at the front and be destroyed. No questions allowed to be asked. Imagine, folks, if you will, hunkering down and being blown to bits by artillery. Imagine being blown to bits by artillery, folks. Day after day, men, friends, comrades are picked off and injured or literally blown into pieces. Imagine seeing that and knowing that you're actually not appreciated, not cared for, you're getting no support from your government, and knowing that Zelensky is eating a juicy steak and filming a Vogue photo shoot back in Kiev with a bunch of sycophant photographers and media personnel. The question of why becomes the top question. Why serve? Why should I, this is what the Ukrainian soldier is asking himself, why should I be blown to bits? And for what? So Zelensky can be lavished with wealth for pretending to be a hero to his rich supporters? Folks, there's so much to say on this. Really, are the Ukraine people better off with Zelensky? Or would they be better off with Zelensky saying, okay, we quit. You, right, Donetsk, you, Luhansk, are free republics. Instead, they choose to fight. Well, not the people, the government, those in charge. They want to keep fighting. Remember when we were supposed to support that? Why? Literally, Americans have a very small, very short memory. Their attention span. What's more important now? I think 1% of the population was polled, asked, what is the most important thing? What should we be most afraid of? And only 1% said Russia. A lot more people are worried about, well, their paycheck, their rent or mortgage, how much gas costs, how much food costs. Right? It's kind of hard to be worried about someone halfway around the world and keep sending them money when here we're being punished by the Federal Reserve Chairman, by the U.S. Treasury, and by the President of the United States, as well as the Democrats in Congress, both the House and the Senate. It's unbelievable. Now, to continue back to Ukraine, this war is not going to quit, folks. Whether you know it or not, they're going to continue to send money and missiles and munitions so they can continue to fight. They need this Cold War, folks. And anytime they want, they'll blow something up to scare America and tell us all about it. But get this, folks, people are waking up to the truth. And that's what we're doing here. Yes, have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense in that plan, as discussed. Go to thepreparedmind.club. Support real thought, critical thinking, common sense. Yeah. I love it how Congress tells us common sense legislation to fix the problem, but they go about fixing the problem with no common sense, and there's no fix, right? We want to be free. We want to talk about reality. We need to keep aware of it, right? But they want to silence dissenters. Now, the people that are backing the Ukraine fight are pissed. Why? Well, the soldiers are leaving. Why else are they pissed? Because Amnesty International has reported the use of human shields in this battle in Ukraine. Oh, except the people that are using the human shields is Ukraine, folks, not Russia, right? The abuses and atrocities are too damning to ignore any longer. And the partisan hacks and the people enriching themselves will cry unfair as someone like Amnesty International points out Ukraine's actions and abuses and what I would call atrocities, right? The Amnesty International report came out on Ukraine and detailed that schools and hospitals, as well as people's homes, civilians, were put in harm's way, right? Suggesting, I think, proving Ukrainian military used human shields tactically, right? These tactics violate international humanitarian law. That's a violation of humanitarian law, makes it an atrocity, if not just a crime, and it endangers civilians, right? Because they turn civilian objects into military targets when they do this. And I've been touching on this as the war started, mentioning they're in civilian neighborhoods, right? So when the military, the Ukraine military, is hiding out in schools, in hospitals, in the neighborhoods where people live, right? Russian strikes end up killing civilians and destroying civilian infrastructure, right? Now, the Secretary General of Amnesty International, Agnes Kalamar, said in releasing the report, quote, being in a defensive position does not exempt the Ukrainian military from respecting international humanitarian law. In other words, pretending like you're getting your asses kicked doesn't give you an excuse to hide amongst civilians in schools, in hospitals, and neighborhoods and houses, right? Now, the critics, I want to talk about the other side. The critics of Amnesty International have said they now are Russian propaganda. Of course they are. The World Economic Forum and the oligarchs of Europe wouldn't want to allow any facts to get in the way of their narrative. Now, also joining the outcry against free thought and facts, some pro-war pundits have claimed that the Ukraine military was in those civilian areas fighting to defend civilians from the Russians. That gets a big hearty har, right? War is hell, folks. War is not a civil thing. War is using all the deadly force you have to slay your enemy. War is ugly, right? Evil people use war to steal from others and kill dissenters. Being on the winning side ends up being the justification to claim moral superiority. If Russia was soundly and roundly defeated by Ukraine, you can imagine that there would be no pity and mercy for the people of Russia, that the entire world would claim Russia needs to be castigated and punished, kind of like the Germans were after World War I, right? The pre-Nazi Germans were blamed because they lost. It's incredible, folks, what is going on. This war is not the only SHTF element we have to consider. But we should consider how this war is going to be like many others. Perhaps war in the Middle East. Perhaps war in Lebanon, Syria, Turkey, and Israel. War between Taiwan and China seems inevitable. How many other wars and civil wars are there going to be? Because they brought down an international system of law and order, and they're replacing it with chaos. And just this morning, I was, how do I put this? Communicating via the internet. And we're discussing the destruction of our economic system. And it was when you go and you take something and you demolish it, you destroy it. That is done only when you want to replace it with something else, something different. And it's not always something better, but it's definitely going to be something that benefits someone else. We're having our international systems systematically destroyed, taken down, because they want to replace them with something else. You turn off the light switch, you turn it back on. Right? That's a reset. They're resetting everything, this great global reset. The question is, do you possess the prepared mind? Or are you going to be one of the millions or billions that are duped into believing, right, the new liberal world order is, shall we say, morally superior and legitimate? Or will you prepare the mind, prepare with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Will you prepare and be prepared to stand and defend your constitution, your country, your state, your belief system, your rights as an individual to live and benefit from your hard work? Right? Or will you allow yourself to be made a slave? That's why we ask you to help. Spread the word. Internet address right up there. Share that with people. Wake them up. Right? Take the red pill. Open your eyes. See the real world for what it is. Get prepared. Understand, right, your personal philosophy. Do you believe in freedom, or do you just believe in doing as you're told, no matter what you're told? History is replete with examples of people who have done both. People who have done what was right for them and they won, or people that did what was right for them and they were defeated anyways. And then there are those people who just do as they're told, whether it's right or wrong, moral or immoral. They just go along to get along. They don't want to make any waves. They don't want to stand up for anything. Those are sheep. History is full of examples of all of these different types of people and models. The thing about you is you get to decide for yourself to be sheep, to be free. That's a choice that can't be taken from you. The consequences of the choice, folks, now that's something completely different. You may fight and win, or you may fight and die as an individual. And we collectively may fight and win, or we may lose. History will be the judge, but we have that choice. Is the choice illusion? No, the choice is real. To claim certainty, that would be confidence, right? Illusion and fact, propaganda and truth. Your rights, or are they just privileges? Depends on who's telling the story. The choice is yours to claim your rights. The choice now is to get prepared or trust Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and trust Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, and trust that they're all going to do what's best for you. I contend, folks, what they're doing is not best for me by any stretch, and that I choose for myself. My path, my rights. Remember when, folks, they said Ukraine, oh my God, Russia's going to take over the world. Right? They'll do anything to scare you because fear is the number one motivator. Now, when you're not afraid, you can't be controlled with fear. If you're afraid that you won't have food, if you're afraid the lights are going to go out and your life is going to be changed forever, certain things you have control over, certain things you don't. Store food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Having all that eliminates a lot of the fears that they would use to control you. And that's why being a prepper is paramount if you want to be a patriot. I love this country, folks. The idea of America, freedom, liberty, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. That's why I'm here right now, right? That is the message I want out there. The choice is yours. I don't want to go and look back 10 years from now and say, remember when we could go to the store and buy what we wanted? Remember when you could travel wherever you wanted? Remember when you could say what you wanted and think what you wanted? Remember that? In 10 years, folks, if the bad guys win, they'll know who I am, and they'll come looking for me to make an example out of me. I've already made my choice. They're not going to win. I won't let them win. I won't allow it. Right? Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. God bless America. Semper Fi, folks, means always faithful. You got to believe in something, folks. Got to make a stand sometime. What's your decision? What's your choice? Hard times. Next will be the Free-for-All Friday. Free-for-All Friday. I'll see you guys tonight on the thepreparedmind.club. We'll be live for the Free-for-All Friday. I'll see you there. Semper Fi. Yes, I'll say it again. God bless America.